Today in studio, we are joined by Onkarabile Mokoto, who is the founder of Becoming the Best Speaker Academy, award-winning author, actor, Essay Heroes Awards and Essay Man of the Year Award finalist 2019. He's an award-winning motivational speaker, online TV and radio host, as well as an entrepreneur. In pursuit of his dream, Onkarabile worked as a security guard for 6 years. He says he took up that job because he needed to make ends meet and use it as means to fund his dream. During the time he worked as a security guard, he wrote and self-published 2 books, How to Hear God When He Speaks and Power of Planning. And he's here to tell us all about his journey. Welcome to Life by Design, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sis Amanda.
You have done so many things.
Yes.
I wonder, where do you get all the time to juggle all of that? Tell us what drives you to do what you're doing.
I mean, you spoke something very powerful, when you begin this program about the life of purpose, So I believe that it is purpose that drives me. And what is the purpose? Is to change lives, There is nothing good when you see yourself doing something that changes other people's lives. Mm-hmm. So it's purpose that drives me.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now let's just get the background of where it all started. Where are you coming from? Where were you born and raised?
Okay. I was born in Northwest, in Mahikeng, mm-hmm. In a place called Setlagole. That's where I grew up. That's where I attended my primary school. Mm-hmm. And I came to Johannesburg to finish my matric.
All right. Tell us about your family setup, the kind of home that you grew up in. How many were you at home? Were you raised by both parents?
Yes, I was raised by both parents. I have 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Mm-hmm. Yes, so yeah, that's my family.
And would you say you had an easy upbringing? How was life?
Not at all. Not at all. I grew up from a very disadvantaged background. It was just a normal situation where you just go to school, but nothing fancy about your life. Mm. I remember, we used to struggle when it comes to December, when people, they were supposed to buy, these fancy clothes.
Yeah, Christmas
clothes and New Year and stuff like that. Mm. And you will see your peers having those times All-Star, Adidas and stuff like that, and my family will just buy simple clothes, and you'll be hurt because you are young and you want to be like exactly, So that's my background. That's where,
So when you were growing up, who was your inspiration?
I actually wanted to be a musician. Okay. I actually wanted to be a musician. There is the late musician by the name of Signem Hopudi. He was actually singing in the 1980s. Mm-hmm. I think you'll recall him. He became famous in 1989 by the song titled Mama's Baby. I don't know if you remember that song.
Mama's Baby.
Yes. He's actually my home brother. Yeah, so I looked up to him, and I remember the reason why actually I came to Johannesburg is because I wanted to meet him, so he can actually direct me when it comes to music. So that's how my life started. When I came to Johannesburg, I met him, and we stayed with him for a week.
What made you want to go to do music though?
Okay, that's a good question also, because I discovered that I'm not actually good in music. I'm not good at all in music. I think, when you are young and you see people singing on TV, you hear them on radio, you just get inspired by such thing. So that's what actually inspired me to want to become a musician. Mm-hmm. I never thought or realized that I'm not gifted in music, But I thank God because that thing actually pushed me to follow the path where I end up discovering my real purpose, Because as I was saying, when I came to Johannesburg, I came to meet him because of music, only to find that the purpose of God is actually to because that's where I got born again when I got to Johannesburg. When I got to Signem Hopudi, I realized that he's actually a born-again Christian. I didn't know about that. And he no longer sing those songs that, he used to sing. And when I met them, they actually preached to me, that week that I stayed with them to learn about music, I ended up learning more about God. That's where my life began.
And that's when you gave your life to Christ.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then when did you then get to what you're doing now to know that this is what I want to pursue? Obviously, at the time, perhaps there were no means for you to pursue it. Hence, you had to go and be a security guard.
Yes.
When did it click to you that I want to be somebody who makes a difference in other people's lives?
All right. It started when now I had to share the word of God with other people. After I got born again, I realized that what I received is not only for me, the good news, the gospel is that you share it with others. So that's where my life began. I began to preach with my friends. We used to go to schools, to hospital, preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and that's how the thing of speaking started. And when I finished matric, I then went to Wits University to study teaching. When I was there, I actually discovered more about the calling of God. That's where I learned more about God, to a point where I realized that I think I'm actually called to preach the gospel. That's where I then dropped out on my third year. I wanted to pursue this thing because...
So you dropped out of teaching when you were
Yes.
doing your third year?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason is that I wanted to pursue the ministry full time, because I thought, but this is what I'm called to. This is what I enjoy. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing here. That's why then I dropped out. Then I went to the ministry, which did not go well.
When you say you went to the ministry, did you go to a college to be trained in ministry?
No, I did not go to college.
Okay.
I just pursued as a calling,
Okay,
from
so you
God.
went to the streets, to preach. How did it happen?
This is what happened. I had a church that I was attending. The main branch was in Northwest, So in 2010, I remember that's where I was ordained rather as a pastor, and my senior pastor said to me, since you are in Johannesburg, we are planning to open a branch in Joburg. So we think that you can actually take care of that branch. That's where now when they opened the branch, I had to take care of that branch this side. Yes.
And now you're saying that didn't go well.
Yes.
What happened?
Okay. Yeah, this is a painful one. All right, this is what happened. I realized that ministry need finance. Remember I dropped out from university. I was not working. So I actually focused only in ministry, And I thought that I will live by ministry, as the Bible, there is some scripture that says those who are called, they must live based on their calling,
So it was with the hope that the congregation
will take care of me.
Take care of you
Yes.
as their leader.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Only to find that things doesn't go like that, doesn't work like that. So, yeah.
Well, perhaps with that particular congregation, it didn't work like that, because you do find people that are working full-time in the church and actually get paid well.
Yes. No, there are those. But you know what I've learned also? It's not easy. It's not easy. Hence now, I actually encourage the upcoming ministers or pastors to actually be financially stable first before you go to the ministry. Because I also realized that even those who are now getting well paid, by their congregation, they started somewhere, and there was a lot of struggle. If they tell you now, they will tell you that they will not encourage someone to depend on the church, especially if you're a family person. Do not take that chance.
We once had a pastor here on the show who's also a medical doctor. So he didn't leave his vocation as a medical doctor. He's still doing that right now, because he says that he doesn't want to depend on the congregation.
Exactly.
In fact, what is collected at the church, he wants it to sustain the church, and he doesn't want to be a burden. And so that's why he's continuing with his practice and also being a blessing to the church actually by doing so. So one would say that there's nothing wrong with working while you're doing ministry if the church is not in a position to pay you so that you are able to have a good life.
Very true. Very true. I agree with that pastor.
Message.
Yes, I agree with him. Yes.
Right. So now you realize that my living is not going to come from this.
Yes.
Okay. Then is this now the time when you decided to go and work as a security guard?
Yes.
How easy was that?
It was not easy.
I can imagine.
It was not easy at all. But I had to swallow my pride. I had to swallow my pride and face the reality of saying, look, I don't want to be a burden to my parents. I'm a grown man. I've been depending on my parents since I was young, but now I'm a man. So one of my friend encouraged me, said, no, he was working as a security guard. He said, you know what? Because remember, I didn't graduate.
Yeah.
So there's no way that I can get a very nice job. If
So
I
you
can
didn't
say.
think of going back and completing your studies?
Obviously, I thought about it.
Uh-huh.
But remember, when I was at university, I was using NFSAS.
So the means to study were not
Yeah,
there.
exactly. So I said, let me start small. Let me start with, work. Maybe I can fund myself to go back to school, So one of my friends encouraged me, said, no, you know what? Why can't you do a security? It's a very easy job. That's good. Then that's where I entered the security industry. Yes.
How did that go, though?
Mm.
Clearly not good.
When I started, I didn't want people to know what I'm doing. Especially those...
Because it's considered a low job.
Exactly. Especially, and remember, I'm from Wits University, not any university.
Yeah,
I'm from Wits
University.
University, the Wits University. So people knew that I was at Wits, even back home, they knew that, I was at Wits University. So they expected more from me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want people to know that I'm working security guard. I remember, I always say this, that where I was working, it was a mall. So I was working outside, in a parking lot. And I used to see some of my
You can't be hidden there.
I can't be hidden there. I used to see some of my university mates coming to the mall, to do shopping. And they will come with their fancy cars, and I will run away.
I'll do the same.
I will not want them to see me, with that security, with that reflector. I will run away. So it was not easy, it was not easy. But at the end of the day, I had to accept the reality. I had to accept the situation, and believe, in the scripture from the Bible that says all things work together for good to them that are called by God, to them that are called according to His purpose. So I had to encourage myself with that, and I had to encourage myself with the saying that says everything happens for a reason. And I said, maybe God wanted me to learn something. Maybe God wanted me to teach other people that, you can change your situation around. And it has been like that.
Yeah.
It has been like that.
And at what year did that click in the 6 years that you worked as a security?
Come again?
At what year of being a security? Was it the second year, the first year, the third year that you accepted that, you know what?
I think the second year, the first year it was not easy. Because I remember there was a lady, as I'm saying that I used to see them, there was a lady that I studied with, and she came to the mall. And first time, second time, I ran away from her. Until one of my colleagues said, why are you running away from this lady? And I began to tell my colleague, I said, no, don't run away. What if God is sending this lady to come and maybe bless you with something, And that's where now I begin to change my mind. I said, but maybe you are right. And the third time when she came to the mall, I approached her, I greeted her. And she was surprised, she was shocked. But, she didn't want me
to say
anything. You understand? But I could see in her face, she's very disappointed, And that's where now, all the time when she came to the mall, then I became free with her.
And it's good that you came to that realization, because now you own that part of your life and you are able to encourage people.
Yes.
And at the same time, you don't want to send out a message that says that being a security guard is a degrading job, because it's not. It's just that society has perceived it to be that way. And even the people who are listening to us right now, I don't want them to get that side. When I'm saying that I would have run away myself, it's because of what you would have been perceived to be doing because of where you went.
Yes.
But then you come to your senses to say that this is a job like any other, that there are people who are doing it and there's nothing wrong with it, right? And so you actually used it to get you to where you are today.
Exactly.
How were you able to do that so that you can help someone who is perhaps still, struggling with where they are right now, knowing that it's not where they want to be? Okay. How can you turn, what you have right now and use it as a stepping stone to where you want to go?
Two people that inspired me. The owner of a soccer team called Chipa United, by the name of Chipa Mpengesi. When I read his story, I got inspired. Chipa Mpengesi is one of the, today we rate him with Abu Dr. Ivan Koza, Abu Kiza Mutawu. Today we rate him. But he started working as a security guard, and he made his way up. So when I read about his story, I got inspired. I said, but I can do this also, if there are great people like this guy, And I had an opportunity of meeting him one day in Santen during the PSL Awards, and one of my colleagues introduced me to him, and he told him that this guy is a security, but he wrote books, and he was inspired also, and he told me that, no man, you will get where you want to go. I also worked as a security guard. But I knew his story when he was telling me. I already knew his story. And the second person who actually inspired me is my home brother, also by the name of Tsepo Maimani. Tsepo Maimani is an SABC soccer presenter. And he started working at SABC as a cleaner. And he made his way up until today. Now, he's a famous soccer presenter. So those two people inspired me. I said, if those two guys made it, I can also make it. I can also use my job to actually make my way up.
And here you are inspiring many with your story.
Yes.
Who will look up to you and say, if he did it, so can I.
Exactly.
After the break, we'll talk more to Onkarabile.
Hi, I am Zozibini Tunzi, Miss South Africa 2019, and you are watching Life by Design with Amanda Machak.
Today in studio, we are joined by Onkarabile Mokoto. He is an award-winning motivational speaker, an online TV and radio host, as well as an entrepreneur. And earlier on, he was sharing his journey of how he had to be a security guard for 6 years in order to save up so that he can get to the job that he's always wanted to do and be able to touch people's lives. Welcome back, Onkarabile. Now, I've just mentioned that you are an online TV and radio host.
Yes.
How did that come about, and why did you go into that area?
All right. It started like when I became an author. I started writing my first book in actually 2 books. I released my 2 books in 2017, and I remember when I went to Global Conference TV, I was going there to talk about my book. I went there for a book review. And when I got to the studio, I realized that actually, but I can do more about this. I can even, what this guy is doing to me, I can also do it, but following my purpose, not exactly copying what he's doing. Because he was inviting people who have written books. Mm-hmm. But I said, I love people who are doing impact in their communities. So I can have a show where I call people like that to my show to come and share what they are doing, so that people can know what they are doing and can get actually relate and connect with their project and movement. So that's where it started when I became a TV host on Global Conference TV. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you're using that platform to touch people's lives, being something that is your purpose as well.
Exactly.
And then the radio side of things?
The radio side, actually, I'm a resident coach, one of the local radio station at Westrand. Called Westside FM. So I am usually there every Wednesday. I do a book writing program where I teach the upcoming authors about book writing. So that's what I do there.
Talk to us about your motivational speaking. When did that start, and what do you talk to people about?
It started in 2018. I attended a 6 months program, leadership course. And when I was there, I actually realized that this is what I want to do. This is what I've always wanted to do, And it started there. From there, started now, motivating, focusing on my niche, which is speaking, because I always had that thing of motivating, but not knowing where to start and how to start it. That's where my academy was now born, after I realized that many people are having what I was having, but they don't know where and how to start when it comes to public speaking.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, the books that you've written, How to Hear God When He Speaks and Power of Planning. Tell us a little bit about the 2 books.
How to Hear God When He Speaks. Powerful book. It's a book that I had a lot of experience about it. So that book was very personal. I discovered that many people are not living the right life or the life that God wants because they cannot hear God when He speaks to them. And my belief is that for you to have a right direction, it must be directed by God. If you cannot hear God when He speaks to you, which means you cannot have the right direction. Yeah. So I wanted to encourage people, especially Christians, that for you to live the life of purpose, for you to live the life that God wants, you need to know how God speaks. You need to hear God when He speaks to you, so that He can direct you, so that He can channel you to the right direction. Yes.
Would you now say that your ministry is actually what you're living now?
Yes.
And
yes.
perhaps
Yes.
you thought it is to be in front of a congregation only, because it does happen. It does happen, though, that you know that you are called. You come to that realization that you are called, but you think it's in the traditional way of being in front of a congregation, in the four walls of a church.
Exactly.
Not realizing that the ministry is within you. Wherever you are put, that's where you will then live it out. And now through the platforms that you are utilizing, you're actually ministering to people.
You're 100% right. I think that's one of the mistakes that many people are doing. When we talk about calling, we are thinking of fivefold ministries: apostle, evangelist, teacher, prophets, and pastor. Not realizing rather that some of us we cannot all be pastors. Let me just say that we can change other people's lives through other means, like you now on radio, someone is in TV, someone is in politics, So we just need to listen to God. We just need to know where God is taking us. That's what is important. And
how to channel the gift.
Yes.
So that we live what we are called for.
Exactly.
All right. So earlier I mentioned that you are a finalist of SA Men of the Year Award, SA Heroes Awards, and this speaks to the work that you do to uplift communities, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about the work that you do to uplift others.
Okay. When it comes to SA South African Heroes Awards, I was nominated, and I'm grateful for that. I was nominated, and if I'm not mistaken, it is founded by Amanda, if I'm not mistaken, the lady that I'm talking to.
We shall not comment. But it's a very good platform that recognizes the kind of work that people are doing.
Yes, you are doing a very good job. You are doing a very good job. You are doing a very good job. So I was nominated for a youth category because in my community, what I do is that I use my business actually to uplift the youth when it comes to book writing coaching, when it comes to talent awareness, financial wisdom, and also what did I count? Also, did I count? I said speaking.
Speaking, you haven't mentioned.
Oh, yes, speaking
as well.
Yes. So that's what I focus on these 4 services. So I go all over. I go to schools just to motivate them, and those who want to write books, because there are a lot of people who want to write books, but they don't know where and how to start.
Where to start,
So I provide them with those with that knowledge. Yes.
And SA Man of the Year?
SA Man of the Year, I was actually chosen in the media category based on what I'm doing on my TV show and also the radio show. So that is the category that I was chosen for. Yes.
All right. Now, in the academy, we said that you're the founder of Becoming the Best Speaker Academy. What made you start the academy?
Okay. I realized that words are powerful. It's either you can build or destroy through words, through speaking. I remember when I was doing first year at Wits University, I met a guy by the name of Lucky. And he told me a story that I will never forget. He said when he was at high school, he found some brochure, university brochure, which was Wits University brochure, and he was reading that brochure. And his teacher saw him when he was reading the brochure. And he said to him, like, what are you doing? He said, no, I just want to check which course can I do at Wits. And the teacher said, forget about studying at Wits University. You can just try some college, not Wits University. Do you understand? Do you know Wits University? He said, no, you cannot study at Wits University. And like he said to me, from that day, the words of the teacher got inside of him. And he grew up knowing that he will never study at Wits University. After finishing matric, he passed matric very well. He came to Johannesburg. And what he did, instead of applying to Wits University or a university, he didn't apply. He just went to look for a job, and he got a job at Pep Store. He worked there.
Because
those words were clicking. His brother came to him and said, Lucky, but you passed well. Why can't you apply at Wits University? He said, no, I can't study there. He said, no, I can't study there. His brother kept on asking him, apply. He said, no. Until his brother took the form himself, fill up the form for Lucky. He only came to Lucky and said, okay, put the signature then. I will take the form myself. And then like he just signed just to keep his brother away from him. Then he signed the form. His brother took it to Wits University. Fortunately, like he was accepted at Wits University, you know. And he was telling me, he said, I didn't even apply for a financial assistant because I was not interested to study there. You know, when he came January to study, they asked him, "Do you have money to pay?" He said, "No." He said, "Why didn't you apply for NFSAS?" Because it's closed now. By the grace of God, they made him to apply for NFSAS, and that's where like he studied at Wits University. And today, like he's a teacher, you know,
Wow.
he's doing very well. But those words nearly killed Lucky, you know. So from that time, I actually discovered that words are very powerful.
Yeah.
And when I started this academy, I said, I want to raise effective speakers in Africa who will bring value in their communities, who will go out and influence people in a positive way, who will go out in the communities, in rural area, wherever they are, you know, and uplift people through words, because words are powerful.
That's very, very important indeed, and words are powerful.
Yes.
And after the break, we'll talk more to Onkarabile about what he's doing right now as a speaker, uplifting others in the communities.
Hello, this is Tshofatso August Modiga Powers, and you're watching Living Life by Design with Amanda Machaka.
Welcome back to Life by Design. Today in studio we are joined by Onkarabile Mokoto, who is a motivational speaker, an online TV and radio host, and he's also a businessman. And he was sharing earlier that he uses his gift as a speaker to uplift others. He's given back to communities where he has trained people. And you did mention, Onkarabile, that some people don't know what is it that they have within them. And so you try to help them realize that. And you shared the importance of the power of words, or what people are saying to us. And then you decided to form this academy so that people can use the right words that uplift, that build.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've come across some people, since you're somebody who's not, selfish, who's giving to others to make sure that you uplift others as you are also going up. Are there any people that you met along the way that you were able to help and build, and now they are at a better place?
Yes, no, there are a lot of people.
Yes. You can share maybe one or two.
Yes, I can just say one or two. Or three, maybe.
That's
Is it
okay.
fine?
That's fine.
Okay. I met this guy by the name of Michael Tapelo Nyaka from Limpopo. He actually saw what I'm doing on Facebook, you know. And he wanted to be an author for many years. And I had to coach him, you know. I coached Tapelo, you know. And I'm proud to announce that Tapelo is an author today.
Wow.
He's a published author. He's a motivational speaker, you know. And he has been speaking in many radio in Limpopo. He has been featured in many newspapers, you know. So I'm proud that, you know,
You should be.
he's my product, you know.
Yeah.
And last year, I've been coaching two aspiring authors by the name of these guys from Northwest, all the way from Northwest, you know. When you are doing your purpose, my mentor used to say, people will come all over looking for you. You know, you remember the story of King Solomon in the Bible. The Bible says people will come from all over, even the kings, to come and listen to his wisdom. So this guy came all the way from Northwest to come to me. You know, he made an appointment to come to me to know more about writing. And I coached him last year, and he's releasing his book this year titled Level Up Your Mind. You know, he want to teach. Actually, he's focusing on young people, just to teach them and encourage them that you can rise above your circumstances. And the last one is Lisego Nkategwa. I also coached her last year, and she is releasing her book also titled Conversations with Men. It's a very powerful book that talks to men. That talks to men. And what is good about it is that it's written by a lady. She's addressing men, you know, and she's a rape victim, you know, a survivor. So she talks to men. She talks to men instead of hating men, but she wants to address men that, you know, you were not created to be a trash. Yeah. So those three people that I can say, you know, I'm proud that they are my products. Yes.
And what are you working on currently? Is there another book that you're busy with? What projects are you currently working on?
The biggest project that I'm currently working on is the one that we just mentioned, Becoming the Best Speaker Academy. It's one of my biggest project, you know. that I believe that will change many people and will take the world by storm. Because I have a very bigger plans for this academy. So it's the one that I'm actually focusing on at the moment, and also my TV show. I have been making some proposal. I want to take it to now bigger platforms. Yeah, because it was online, so I just want some bigger platforms for this year. So I believe God will open doors for that.
Yeah. What kind of people are you looking for that can come to the academy?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Two kinds of people. People who want to enhance their public or communication skills. Number two, people who want to start or convert their speaking into business purposes, who want to start their career when it comes to speaking, because you can make a living through speaking.
Yeah.
Yes, you can make a living. As a musician is making a living through music. As a speaker, you can also make a living through speaking. My mentor says, your voice must be your invoice.
I like that. I like that. Your
Yes.
voice must be your invoice.
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to take that.
Yes.
Okay. So we saw you on Mubango.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Tell
yes.
us about that.
Oh,
Okay,
yes,
for the sake
yes,
of our
yes.
listeners, because we've got listeners that are all over the continent. So Mubango
Yes,
is a drama on SABC2.
Yes, SABC2, yes.
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and it's a very big one, man.
It's a
That's
big
loved
one.
by
That's
many
a big one,
people.
yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I even forgot about it. Why? Okay, this is what happens. I think last year I started entering acting industry, and it's amazing that it's what I always wanted, for many years. But I never thought I will see myself acting, But when I became a TV host, that love of TV came back. I said, no, man, but that's what I've been,
Yeah.
So that's how I joined acting, and I've been shooting with some soapies like Muvango Generation and also Skim Sam, and your listeners can watch, expect me to appear even this month and next month on Generation The Legacy, SABC1. So they will see me a lot this year, yes.
So is that now another area that you'll be focusing on the most, your acting?
Yes, yes. As I'm saying, that is what I've been, because when I was at university, I was doing this part time, and I was doing teaching, but during the weekends we will do performances, on theater and stuff like that. So I did it a lot when I was at university, So, but after I left university, I then forgot about everything, I just focused on ministry, as I've said. But now, when I started this journey, those things are being now unfolding now. Yes.
Is there any way that you are using now this acting platform to advance your purpose, or is that a fun element for me? You're allowed to have fun.
Okay. It's something that I love also, but at the same time, it actually helped me for branding myself, as a speaker. But I won't share it now. I share this on my academy because I have a course or module named media coverage. So I talk about it a lot. That as a speaker, what to do.
Utilize that,
Exactly.
the power of media
Coverage,
to advance
yes.
your brand and
Yes.
what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
use us, in other words.
Definitely.
All right. So, what would be your message to the listener that's sitting at home and saying that, man, I think I have the gift in me to speak, but I don't know how to hone it and make it a point that my voice becomes my invoice?
Okay. I think the best way is for them to join my academy. I don't know if I'm advertising myself.
But then, is it available online as well, or are you
Not
looking
yet.
at having it
Yes,
online?
yes,
Because,
in
like I
future.
said, we're talking to audiences that are all over.
Yes,
the
yes.
beautiful
But
continent
what
of
is
Africa.
amazing about this academy, it also accommodates even people from outside South Africa. Hence, the vision is raising effective speakers in Africa, not in South Africa. In Africa.
I like that.
Because we believe that we are one. Africa, we are one. There's nothing that you are in Zimbabwe, we are one. In actual fact, this thing of being divided about countries was actually the result of colonization. But when you look back, if you read your history, you'll realize that actually we are one in Africa. There's nothing like South Africa, there's nothing Zimbabwe.
We are
brothers and sisters, you know. So it's actually accommodating even people from outside South Africa. But in future, I'm looking forward to have it also online
as well.
Yes.
And where can people get hold of you on social media?
On social media, I'm Onkarabile Mokoto. And they can also check me on my website www.lifeshapingservices.co.za.
lifeshapingservices.co.za.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story. And it goes to show that you can use every area that you're gifted in, put it together and serve your purpose.
Very true.
Whatever that is. Whatever your calling is,
Very
you
true.
can use your giftings to execute that.
Very true.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This has been Life by Design on Channel Africa, the African Perspective. Let's connect on Facebook, Living Life by Design, on Twitter and on Instagram at living_life by design. So from myself, Amanda Machaga, producers Yami and Lenyama. Till next time, and remember, you are the architect of your life.